What the heck? Hold on, guys. I don't know why this is looping. Bear with me. Interesting. I don't know why that looped backwards. I apologize. Maybe you guys just needed to see it again. I don't know what happened. So that intro, I don't know if you saw it, Jesse, the first time. I put Janelle in the bottom corner and put not so co-host. She loves it. It's definitely her favorite part of the whole thing. So running story, Al, is that Janelle is. I asked her to be my co-host because when we were in Cayuga, she actually wanted to get on Bobby Roast Beef's podcast, and she wanted to be like a co-host on that. But he's pretty locked up with what he's got going on. So I was like, why don't you just come co-host mine? Because I'm always looking for guests. And as much as I can talk and run my mouth on the internet, when I do it by myself, it just sounds really weird because I don't have anybody to riff off of. So I was like, why don't you come on and be my co-host? And she's like, well, I don't know if I'll be able to with travel and everything. I don't know if I'll be able to commit to any type of schedule. So I'll do it part-time or I'll do it on a trial basis. So she's been on a trial basis for 4 months now.
She's been doing good.
So, but I ended up picking up Jesse because me and Jesse talk on the internet all day long about fishing, and it's going to probably get way more intense now that the lakes are opening up.
Yeah.
And honestly, you were due to get on a podcast with me because me and you haven't done an actual podcast in a year almost, probably. It's been a bit because you were on a lot back in the day, but. So, the reason why I brought Al on is because of this logo right here. So, if you guys see that logo right there, yeah, it's always opposite. I actually have mine adjusted so it's the right direction because otherwise it messes me up.
No, because if I do that, then it makes the logo behind me opposite.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. So,
You gotta have the logo printed opposite, so when I do it, it'll be right.
You should do that. Actually, that would work. So, I wanted to ask before we get too far into it. So, when did you? So, Grey Goat was a business that you had for a while. Kind of stopped it and started it. But when did you start it? Like how long ago?
We started Grey Goat Lures probably around 2012, 2013. Way back then. I mean, it was. I love spinnerbaits, and I just got tired of the cost of a spinnerbait. Yeah, they were starting to skyrocket, and then you couldn't get what you wanted. So originally, we started Grey Goat Lures to provide a quality built, affordably priced spinnerbait. And it worked. We had 11 head colors, and each head color had about 20, 25 skirt combinations, blades. I mean, we had everything from number eights all the way down to number twos, Colorados, Willows. I mean, every type of blade known to man. So it got a little hectic, but I loved it.
Right.
And then about 2.5 years ago, about 4 years, 5 years now, April of 2020, I blew the shoulder out. And it got a little difficult. Bunch of surgeries. It got a little hard, but I still kept going. Then when I went in for a test and the doctor gave me those three devastating words, you have cancer. Yep. It was time to put everything aside. And you and I had been starting the podcast.
I was going to say, that's just about when I got involved, yeah.
Yeah, and you were there to help me with everything. And I was like, let me put everything aside. And I sold the company. The guy that bought it, fantastic guy. He had some issues in his personal life, so it never took off. And then something happened at his house. His house got on fire and he lost everything. So I contemplated for almost a year. Doctors were saying, hey, get back to your normal life. You're okay now. I was like, and then finally, a few months ago, I said, what the heck? Let's do it.
Yep.
I miss it, you know. And I had all that stuff, all the wall, everything behind me was just sitting there naked.
Yep.
So I figured that, and that's when we brought it back. But yeah, it's been a wonderful company. I've had more fun than I could ever imagine. I've made more friends than I'll ever, I mean, every trade I went to trade shows this year, just walking around a trade show, having a good time, and people are like, "Where's your booth?" I was like, "Whoa,
Yep.
whoa, whoa, slow to roll, baby. We're not back yet. We're not
Right.
doing trade shows yet." But it's been nice.
Yeah, it's funny because part of having him on is because of the business, because he's starting back up again, and I wanted to help promote that. But also, I have never caught a single fish on a spinnerbait, not
What?
one time,
Mm.
zero.
That
Um,
surprises me because, well, actually, I guess I can't really say that. I mean, you said you're pretty much about plastics and stuff, so the hard baits. I don't know. You're
so
missing out, though. I'll tell you what.
what
You will absolutely know when you get hammered on a spinnerbait. So,
the thing
Oh yeah.
about it has always been, so here's what is ruined spinnerbaits for me.
no, you got to use them. Use them in conjunction.
And so I'm literally doing, I was actually talking to Al about it. So we're going to, once Al gets production going and has some stock and is able to, I don't want to start promoting a bunch of stuff and then have him not have any, availability. But I'm going to start promoting it, but I'm also going to be doing an entire video series on learning how to fish it. So for me, the way baits work, same thing with a jerk bait. So 2 years ago, I hadn't caught a damn thing on a jerk bait ever. The only thing I'd ever caught on a jerk bait was trolling it. I never actually like worked it like a jerk bait.
Mm.
I'd always just thrown it off the side of my kayak and pedaled back home after a long day of fishing and used it as basically just a bonus if I happened to catch a fish on the way back. So what I did and what I have to do, which is what I'm planning on doing with 3 nice shiny new spinner baits that I have downstairs, is I'm going to lock one to a rod and just fish it, because I think that's the best way to learn a technique, is just force feed it to yourself and just keep using it and keep doing it. And that's what I've learned over the years, is the problem for me has always been confidence. And I know I can catch fish on chatterbait, especially this time of year. And Jesse could attest to Vermont waters. The chatterbait is pretty baller in the pre-spawn. But, like you were saying earlier, there is a situation, and one of the things that has gotten me thinking about doing more spinnerbait fishing is the fact that even though it's an open hook, it's very weedless. Whereas a chatterbait does not come through grass all that great. It does, and you can make it work, but more often than not, it's just going to be hung in the grass. That blade's going to get all jammed up with shit, and it's not going to come through it, whereas a spinnerbait might. And also, I've heard, and Al can probably testify to this as probably the resident expert with the bait in this room, but I've heard there's a lot of like guys will like literally flip pitch it, yo-yo it, like it's not just a
You can
straight
do
cast and
anything with it.
retrieve. Yeah.
No, it's and you can also what you can do to like my best some of what I like to do is take a spinnerbait, flip it over a stump like a tree
Okay.
branch. Just let it drop and then bring it back over slow and let it drop in the water. It looks like it just fell off the tree.
Okay. Yep. I do
You
that
know,
with a swim jig, so same concept.
yeah,
Yep.
you could do the same with a spinnerbait. You could jerk a spinnerbait. Just sit there and jerk it like a jerk bait.
Okay.
You could pitch it. You could do anything with a spinnerbait. And if you get a spinnerbait in the right spot, especially around grass and that, kind of pull up the tip in real soft, real slow pulling up the tip. The bait will drop and the blades will turn as it drops, you know? So it'll have that slow drop with the blades turning. It'll kind of look like a sub going down. and then
I
you
could
can
see
just
that.
jerk it from there to get
And
that blade to really go.
and honestly, I should fish a spinnerbait more because from what I've been told, again, never had a lot of experience with it. Smallmouth like come unglued on them.
Oh, yes, they do. Yes,
So, and
they
being in
do.
smallmouth
Now,
territory, we should be fishing them.
yeah, especially up north. I love them here in Virginia, North Carolina. They do great.
But yeah,
So
that's
for me, um, I think probably my two best colors in spinnerbaits has been the Megabass Wagasaki. I fished
okay.
the SV3 in the Wagasaki color, and then also the bluegill. I think they call it like an IU, but it looks just like a bluegill.
Yeah.
And then I throw a Largo shad, a bluegill pattern Largo shad on the back of it, and I tell you, whew, man, that gets destroyed.
So Michael Bradley had asked us, and I actually never even thought of this question, but what was the inspiration for the gray goat name? Like, where did that come from?
The goat.
Um, Gee, I
Just
try to.
that, huh?
Let me see
Just
if I can figure that out. But yeah, this was down here at the time, so
gotcha.
this was long, and
Okay,
I think it's one of the few reasons I keep it anymore, other than the double chin. As I got older, the chin got bigger.
gotcha.
I
So
think that
speaking of
happens for
trailers,
all of
actually,
us.
yeah, it
Yep.
does. Speaking
Yeah,
of trailers, do you? So some guys tell me they don't use a trailer at all, and some use a paddle tail. Is there like a reason to use a trailer, not use a trailer?
depends on where you're at.
Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
No, Jess, you can take this one.
So with me, I do it to add a little more bulk, especially early in the
okay,
season. The fish are out; they're hungry. They don't really care about the size, but realistically, the bigger the meal, the more it's going to entice them to go after it. So the
okay,
more filled out it is, the more they're going to want to eat it. Whereas
gotcha.
later on in the year, if you want to get away from the trailer, in the finesse times, especially,
Right,
then you don't have to run one.
that makes sense.
It's a seasonal thing. You throw it based on the season, and I see people that when you get into that finesse time, when you get into that certain time of the season, they take the skirt off. They'll take that
Yep,
skirt off and just throw a trailer on it,
I'll do that
Mhm.
with buzz
a
baits.
swim bait. They'll throw a swim bait on it. It
Yep,
gives you the best of. It gives you the jig profile, but it's got those blades.
yep.
Oh, awesome! It's
Now,
like
is
a
there?
bladed jig.
I know there's a lot of information on the internet about this, but I was always curious. Is there like a rule of thumb when it comes to blade? Like, do you use a Colorado for a specific scenario versus a willow, or is it just kind of a personal preference
It's
thing?
really up to you what you want. I've always used the blades. If I want to rip a 3/8 and stay low, I'll use a willow because it's a
Yep,
longer blade.
keeps it
It'll
down.
stir up the water, whereas a Colorado's a bigger blade. As it turns, it starts to
It
lift.
creates lift. Okay,
So depending on the water, if you're in, you want to throw it shallow. If you want to throw it real low, throw a willow. If you want to bring it up high, throw a Colorado.
okay, that makes sense. So that is like it is a personal preference, but it does
Yeah,
actually. So for me,
it has some. It depends how hard you want to retrieve it too.
so
If
where
you
I
want
fish
to
a lot,
retrieve
there's a
it
lot of
slow,
submergent grass, so that would make
yeah,
sense to
so if you
use the
want to,
Colorado to keep it above it.
yeah, and if you want to fish it slow but keep it up a little, then a Colorado would be good
Okay,
because it'll bring it up, but not too much because you're going slow. But as soon as you speed up, it'll start to
comes
rise.
up. Okay. So it's really about the speed of the retrieve as the blade's going to
Yeah,
create a different
speed
action.
and what you want to do. I mean,
Okay.
you can take the same. You can take a spinner bait like this, nice willow blades. Small. I believe this is a number 4 and a number 3. And depending on how hard you pull it, you retrieve it. Will decide whether it goes high, goes low, goes. So
Got
yeah,
it.
and that's what I like about spinner baits. Once spinner baits, just change out the blades, and you have a whole new lure.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen so many. We were talking about this in the green room, but like I've seen so many. Like I've tried to look into it. The problem is this is what happens with spinnerbaits for me, and it's a confidence thing. That's why I got to lock it in my hand. I'll fish it for a while. I won't get any bites on it, or I'll get hit, but I won't catch it. Because when I say I haven't caught a fish on it, I've hooked fish on it, and I've felt like a fish clearly hit it from the side and just blew slack in it, but I've never actually boated or actually got a fish like to the point where I was fighting it back. And so I did a lot of research and started looking into stuff. And one of the biggest things I noticed was that like spinnerbait fishing seems to be like a cult almost. Like there's some guys that are like, we were talking about this in the green room where it's like, I need a 20 strand with 3 blue and 2 chartreuse, and one of the strands has to be 1/4 inch long. Like there's so much nuance to it. And again, I don't think, I'll be honest, I'm the first one to admit, like, there's certain baits. I have a $110 bait mold coming in the mail. The reason is because I have confidence in that style of bait, and I can't get the color I want because it's always freaking back ordered. So I bought the mold so I can make my own. Is it the color, or is it just I have confidence in that color, so that's the color I use, so I fish it?
It's a combination of the two. But here's one of
Yeah.
our heads, and we were talking about just a couple of strands. This was one I'm bringing back because it
Okay.
was a top seller. This is just a white sparkle with a nice white, and then it just has a few strands
Okay.
of a gray chartreuse on the side. That's it. And this was designed by someone who was bought from us when I was doing the real custom stuff, and that was what he wanted. We put it on the website. That thing was selling 15, 20 a month.
I could see where
That would
that would
kill up
work.
here. Like
Yeah.
that would really kill up here.
Yeah, it would. Especially because where you put that color, and I'm assuming there was strategery involved, but looking at where that strip was, it's right in line with the hook. So like
Yeah,
they're
that's what.
keying on that chartreuse, and then when they hit it, that's where the hook is.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times when you see a spinnerbait, like the alternate colors on the bottom or the top, which yeah, that makes sense for a lot of baits, but like I like how where you put that was right on the hook, so when they key in on that separate color, they're going to be getting the hook and not
Yeah,
swiping across the top or the bottom of it.
and then I don't have them here, but we had a line called the Black Knight, which is basically this this colored. This is a nice
Yeah,
black
I
sparkle
like
with a. It's a nice sparkle. It's got purple and blue and silver in it. And then
yep.
what we did is we put 3 strands of red down each side.
Is that what you sent me?
And
Is it similar to like what you sent me?
yeah.
Okay,
And then another one had maybe 3 strands of white, 3 strands of
gotcha.
chartreuse, 3 strands of blue. We called it the Black Knight series.
That's
And
cool.
that's gonna come back. This is just the Black Knight. I haven't done the sides yet.
I got a couple of ponds up here where that would absolutely get destroyed. I'd probably have to order like 20 of them from you just to replace them all.
What's funny is black is probably my most productive color, like just
It is.
straight black.
It is
A
for
matter
the
of fact, I just got a box from Tackle Warehouse actually coming tomorrow. I thought it was here already. That I literally ordered like black replacement skirts, like with the silicone like insert, so I can just slide them up over. Because I will literally take factory skirts off of jigs and replace it with just a solid black skirt.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
we're
just a
getting ready to
contrast
sell
thing.
our skirts.
Are
Our
you?
skirts are
Okay.
also up there on just the skirts only. I mean, we make them. They have a. You can see it's got. You can take these
Yeah.
skirts on and off.
Yep.
They got they got that nice rubber insert,
Yep.
so you can put them on and off without any problems.
I
Yeah,
I'll be ordering
those
some from
first
you
look like
probably.
the
I didn't know
ones
you
that
were
you
selling
got, like
skirts.
the Z-Man custom chatterbaits.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna do the skirts too. They're gonna be, I think they're 99 cents each.
Oh, I'll be ordering some because I just paid like 3. I think I paid like $4 for 3. and
Yeah,
then
that's about
shipping
where
if I
they
had
are.
to if I didn't order. Let's just say for those in the chat, I said this to Al earlier. Only true anglers will know what this means, but I have a free Tackle Warehouse shirt coming tomorrow.
Oh, jeez. Yep.
No, man, he could have bought it. He could have took it. He could have took us out to Outback for that.
Jeez, you ain't kidding.
The funny part is my wife literally knows. Like my wife's got like 4 of them that she uses as nightgowns because they don't really fit me anyways.
Yep.
But I'm like, it's the most expensive free shirt you'll ever get. But I may or may not have 5 of them downstairs from the last 2 years. So I
I think we all got that shirt. I think we
I got
all
like,
have a shirt like that.
Oh
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I got like 2 grays, 2 blacks, a couple of blues.
Yep.
The problem I have too is it's like a lot of the stuff I end up buying from them is plastics too, so it's not like I have anything to show for it because they're all gone now because I've used them all. So it's like I will buy hard baits.
Shirt.
The problem is where I'm from too is you probably have more selection out than we do. Like we don't have, nothing in Vermont. We have Dick's Sporting Goods. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't have Bass Pro. We don't have Academy. Walmart, basically, the fishing aisle in most Walmarts in Vermont is now 1 aisle, maybe 2. And it's seasonal, so when hunting season kicks in, they gut half of the fishing aisle and they put hunting stuff on it. Like, so.
In them fishing season, they take half the hunting aisle away.
Yep. It
That's
sucks.
the same here.
So we end up ordering, like, I will admit, that's one of the reasons, we're friends and you were starting it, but that's why I like supporting small bait makers because you can't get crap. And then, to be honest, some of the stuff that you buy now, anyways, isn't that great a quality to begin with. So then you're not getting good, but you can't even get it locally. Yeah, you can't even get it.
It's mass produced. But yeah, I know. I'm lucky because an hour south of me is Bass Pro Shops.
Yeah.
Then about 30, 40 minutes kind of northwest, I have Academy, Dick's, and then not to mention all the small tackle stores in between.
We have no small tackle stores either. Most of our small tackle stores are gone.
We have a lot. We still have a lot in this area.
Man, I wish.
But yeah, I got a nice selection around here.
Jesse, do you have any you probably don't have any local stuff around you at all, do you?
We have one, Lead and Tackle.
Okay.
We used to have 2, but that one shut down. But Lead and Tackle's been around for a little while, and they're like the same as you guys were saying. Like in the in the springtime, everything comes out for fishing, stays there until probably about, I don't know, end of September, beginning of October. Then it just goes away. All the hunting stuff comes in and, a little bit of ice fishing. But other than that, yeah, it's...
See, I got rack and reel, but as the name implies, rack and reel, a lot of their fishing stuff goes missing in the fall. Now, the one thing I will say that's cool, so we used to have Vermont Field Sports in Middlebury. I'm sure you know about Vermont Field Sports, Jesse, because you probably, that's one of the most staple ones that was around for a while. They're gone. And Rack and Reel has a lot of stuff, but the cool thing is Rack and Reel sells like Berkeley. And for some reason, I don't know if it's a contract thing, I don't know if it's a relationship thing, Dick's doesn't sell Berkeley. Like, you can buy a couple things of power bait and a couple of coal shads, and that's about it. They don't really carry much around here. Like the Rutland and Williston one doesn't have anything.
Dick's is mostly a clothing store. That's anytime I go into a Dick's, you got a couple of kayaks hanging on the wall, and then maybe a telescopic fishing pole or 2, and then it's all just coats and shoes, overpriced boots, and all this other crap.
See, here I will say Rutland and Williston, they have 5 or 6 aisles. But they are, like I said, I don't know if it's a contractual thing, but they literally have 2 aisles of 6 cents. Like they're in love with Milliken or something. I don't really know why. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I buy. I mean, I have 6 Cent stuff. I like their stuff, but like, I don't really. I'm gonna probably screw myself at any potential sponsorship, but I'm not really a big fan of like Strike King crankbaits. I'm not. I would rather have a Berkeley crankbait than a Strike King crankbait for the most part. There's a couple of Strike King crankbaits that are good. Don't get me wrong, but the thing about the Strike King, the thing about them is like the KVD series are cool, except the hooks are shit.
Yeah,
Basically,
you swap all hooks out anytime you get
whereas
something.
like Berkeley, you're getting fusion hooks with 6 Cents. I think you're getting Mustad. I think that's what they use for their like.
That's what we use, Mustad, on
I
all our
forget.
hooks.
6 Cents has some brand. They might be VKK or something like that. I'm not really sure what they use.
Actually just started switching back over to BKK. I think they had Mustad before. Don't quote me on that, but I've been seeing a lot of their new stuff coming out that has BKK on it. So, which, by the way, I freaking love their treble hooks. The ones that I get are the EWGs. They're like the spear point ones.
Yep.
And I stick those on my lipless, and oh man, do those hang on! And they're so sticky sharp, a fish should just look at it and you got them hooked.
Well, it's because people don't know this, but BKK was making Owner and Mustad's hooks for like 20 years, and then they decided they were going to get in the game.
See, when it comes to crankbaits, I'm an ardent.
Okay.
I like ardent.
Old
I
school.
like them.
I don't even know where I would get one of those. Tackle Warehouse, maybe.
Yeah, they've always worked. Like you. I have more confidence when I see that ardent name on it.
Okay.
You know, I've used them more than any other crankbait I've ever had.
For me, it's been
But yeah,
River to Sea, the DD75. I got my PB largemouth, that seven and a quarter pounder on it.
Well, we now know how he racked up the cart to get that shirt then, because River to Sea ain't cheap either. Don't get me wrong. I got some, but there ain't nothing that River to Sea makes that's in the cheap bucket.
Nope.
Yeah, and well, like you were saying earlier about tackle stores, the last 5 years we've seen a decline in physical stores. I think
Crazy.
Big time.
companies are sitting back and they're starting to get more and more popular, but they're also noticing, why should I put my stuff on ABC Tackle, give it to them for $3 a bag so they can sell it for $4.99, when I can just put it on my own website and sell it for $4.99 and keep the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's why you don't see a lot of products in certain stores. It's cheaper for them to put it on their own their own website.
Yeah.
Website's basically a couple of bucks a month. That's it. Once it's up and running,
Right.
there's no electric bill, there's no employee, none of that.
Well, that's why a lot of
It's
the big swim bait guys do all their own baits, and it, honestly, I think it was probably what the KGB, the Chad Shad. It took them a while before they decided to partner with somebody, but I think that's just because the demand was so high you couldn't keep up with the orders. But I mean, I'm looking at swim baits out there like $300, $400, $500 a piece, and those are some of the cheap ones. Like
and they're on a website only.
Moby, that giant shad that's like 14-inch bait, freaking 10-ounce bait, and $400 for that thing, and they're never in stock. What is going on
You
here?
should go next year. You should go up with me to the New England Fishing Expo.
Yeah, where's that going to be?
It's in Marlboro, Mass.
Okay.
So literally, dude, that's where I bought my kayak from too. So, dude, no joke. There is a bait painter. He actually is a bait. He carves his own and then paints them. He brings, I think it's 400 swim baits. People pay an extra $25 to get an early bird ticket to get into this show.
Yep.
Jeez.
And he sells 100 per day. He shows up, he sets up his booth, he lays out 100 swim baits, sells out in 45 minutes, and goes to the hotel and drinks until tomorrow.
Oh, jeez, good for him.
$250 to $300 a pop.
Oh my god!
Now, if you want,
it's nuts.
If you go on my YouTube channel, there's a swim bait universe. It's called. It's a small trade show, maybe 20, 25 vendors,
Yep.
all the large swim baits.
Yep.
These are anywhere from $75 to like you were saying, $500.
Yep.
And these guys are the same way.
Yeah.
They sit there, and their door opens at 8 o'clock. By 10:30, 11 o'clock, everybody's just picking up what's left. And it's amazing. I went there and I filmed it. We did an entire show on it. There were, at 8 o'clock in the morning, there had to be 100 people in line to get in.
What's crazy, what's really messed up is they come in, they buy $200-$300 swim baits, and then 45 minutes later, one of the two was on sale for $500 and it gets sold. Not even kidding you. These guys will literally buy 2 or 3, sell the 2 or 3 to make money back for the one they bought.
Oh, I know what you mean. So every time that the Megabass 110, like a new color comes out, especially in like the fine art or something like that, so a limited run.
Yep.
Forget it. Like the hookup tackle will literally, like they actually had to change their policy on selling those, because what would happen is you'd have 10 or 15 guys come in there, order like 100 each, and then turn around and flip them for like 50, 75. Like, it's ridiculous right now. You want to know how much a 110 in Morning Dawn is going for right now? On average, about $900 to $1,000
for a fishing lure.
Wow.
For a Morning Dawn fishing lure.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, question from the chat: do you have? I'm gonna.
Grego lures now available for $19.95.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. So, going with that, do you have like a standard set of colors, or do you just like?
Right now, we have a limited set.
Okay.
Let's see if I can pull it out here for you.
Gotcha.
This is some of what we have. These are all going with the black sparkle. We haven't put them up yet. This is one skirt. It's like a spotted gold black.
Wow.
That would destroy up here with the perch bite, dude. This
is actually purple, not blue. It's purple and black.
I like that one. I like those first two.
This is a silver black.
Champlain.
That one's pretty decent.
Champlain with the alewives.
Yeah.
And this
is one of our biggest. This is a white with a spotted red. I use these as blood trails.
Yeah.
In fact, Michael, I think I sent you one.
One of the ones I got had that
with the long trail.
Yep.
So I used to get dirty jig skirts, and one of the skirt colors that I got was similar to that. And I used to love putting that on a swim jig, especially like a California swim jig, and then busting through heavy grass with that.
Yeah.
That color is dynamite.
This has purple and silver specks in it. It's a really nice color. It's very popular. And then we have the most popular. It's just a white sparkle.
Yep.
It's really nice. This is a little bit of a clear.
Yeah, I've got that. It's got like the black specks in it or something, right? Yeah, I've got that one. They make a glow like that too.
And then we have that one that I showed you earlier. This is the full skirt.
Okay.
Chartreuse tips on like a silver. Then we have chartreuse on a black.
Okay.
And then we have red on the black.
Mm.
Those were, like I said,
these stuff. I've never had a ton of success with it, but it does work. But I've never been successful with it.
Yeah,
it's weird.
And that's just some of what we have. When I was at the height, these boxes are beautiful. They fit 6 across. We can get about 70 in each one when I pack them.
Yep.
I had like for almost 40 of these packed. Not to mention boxes of skirts sitting.
Well, not to mention you
Well,
probably got like little pieces here, little pieces there, because if you cut
yeah,
part of a tab, and I used to
and
play around with them all the time. I had a box around here somewhere full of like failed jig
this was
colors.
a this was a big color for us. This was a baby bass
Yep.
color.
That's a good
This
one.
head's coming
Yep.
back. I ordered that head, and then our chartreuse white head are the next two we're getting.
Okay.
But yeah, it's every month we add 4 more skirts, and every other month we add 2 more heads. That's the process, and we're slowly building back to where we were. But
Gotcha.
my
Those,
goal is
I was
what you
going to
got.
ask, your skirts, are they metal or are they rubber?
The inserts.
Yeah.
That's we use a really cool tool, which is buried under. It's that time of the year for me. It's tax time. I have personal taxes, corporate taxes.
Oh, jeez.
I have several taxes I have to fill out. So it's a it's a rubber.
Okay. Okay.
It's got a nice hole, solid. This is
How
the
well
tool we use.
how well does your skirt stay together with that particular band?
Oh
Because
yeah,
that
because it has another band that goes in it.
yeah, okay.
And these skirts, this one's 4 years old. It's still hanging in there.
Holy
But
cow.
yeah, I've not had many issues with the skirts.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
I'm gonna probably once we get back, I'm gonna start doing more shows where I'm gonna just build the skirt from scratch,
Yeah.
show how we do it, or just let somebody like Michael was saying in the back,
He loves
green
green
pumpkin
pumpkin purple.
purple.
He loves green pumpkin purple. Every time I make a bait or I display a bait, he throws that out there. He's like, I need that color. I will say I did make some worms in that color, but
So let me do
like a
this.
green pumpkin worm with a
Purple
purple
in there
fleck.
because I
Oh,
have a
okay.
jig color that I love that's like a light brown purple
Yep.
and the smallmouth crush it.
That's so he's from like Bennington area.
Okay.
So it's
Purple's becoming a very
I'm
popular
probably
color.
way off of that, but I don't even know actually where. I don't want to give his address or nothing either, but I know he's down that way. They keep trying to get me to go fish Somerset.
I'll look into a green pumpkin with purple. I'll look for a couple of different ideas, and then who is it?
Scott Vermonter.
Okay. And if I find something, I'll text you with what I can find.
Yeah, if you find him, let me know because I'll order a couple and I'll send one to him.
And that's what I want to get back to. I mean, I don't want to get back to the custom stuff that we used to
Right.
do with 1,000 different blade combinations. But I used to get on here with some of the people. I had multiple cameras, and I would physically, okay, what do you want? And they'd be like, well, grab this skirt, give me a full strand of this one, and then give me 5 strands of this one on each side, and then
Yeah.
give me this one on the top. And we'd sit here and build it and
So
see what it looked
what I
like.
would suggest is like do a standard line and then be like, okay, we'll do a custom one, but it's going to cost you twice as much. Do you still want 5 strands of black and 5 strands of blue? Because some of those
I can't
guys
do
will
that.
pay it.
But I can't do that. That's not in me.
Fair
You
enough.
know, I can build this skirt right here, all white, or I can add those few strands. It doesn't cost me an extra dime.
Right.
It doesn't take but maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds more. I'm
Right.
not going to charge extra for that. That's
Fair enough.
just to me. It's we're all anglers. I know how hard it is. And when you find that right bait, no matter
Yep.
what it is, you will pay anything for it. But I would rather give it to you for the same price, so you tell everybody, hey, I got a special one from him. He didn't charge me anymore. You
True.
know,
Yeah. I will say there's a couple of baits that have been discontinued that my boy Abe or other bait painters have. Matter of fact, I'm going to be talking to Pete Stoneman soon and having him make me a couple of baits. I'm going to be going to a shop. But that, I will say, if you guys want a custom like hard bait, let me know, because I know a couple of bait painters that basically you send them a photo and they'll replicate it. That is the
if I
cool
paint it,
underworld of
no.
fishing. I suck at painting.
My
I tried it, but I'm awful at it.
my 3.5-year-old granddaughter could do better than I could.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's like
camera's like wigging out.
one of the big spinner baits I got. One of the first colors was a red white. It was
Yeah,
red on top, white on the belly, with a little black stripe going between them. And the reason
yeah.
was that was my favorite spinner bait for years, and they just stopped making it.
That's how I ended up with like 15 bait molds, dude. Was so I liked the Kitech Easy Shiner in the green pumpkin, and I'm sure Jesse knows exactly what color I'm talking about because the fish on one of his favorite lakes, just smashed that thing, and you couldn't get them. I couldn't get them in New York. I couldn't get them at any of the local tackle stores. I couldn't find them. They were gone. And then I went to Pro Blue Shiner. That's how I discovered Pro Blue Shiner. Was I couldn't get the freaking green pumpkin one, so I said, you know what, this looks cool. And I hear the thing is it was one of those like every manufacturer has some iteration of Pro Blue. So I'm like,
Yeah.
there must be something to this color because Pro Blue is made in every type of bait and every manufacturer has an iteration of it.
I feel like it to me it reminds me of a smelt.
It's got that. So it's funny because it's supposedly a shad color, but
Sorry,
so it's a running joke on our channel, Al. We don't fucking have shad. So like using shad patterns up here, you from New York, like alewives is it, and they're not even supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So like perch, bluegill, but like you said, smell. You do have that. You do have the other thing that I didn't think about until this year ice fishing is shiners.
Yep.
Because
And
shiners get dumped in the lake during ice fishing season, and some of them survive and breed and make more baby shiners. So
fall fish.
Yep, and fall fish. Actually, fall fish, dude, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I now know what they are, or if it's just because they're becoming more prevalent. But I'm starting to see a lot more fall fish in places that I fish.
Yes, they're
big.
Well, that's the thing is once they get a certain size, no other fish is going to touch them.
Right.
And that's what's so great about them is Penster Pond. They're so prolific. I can go to that pond and catch 5 or 6 trophy size fall fish within a couple of hours.
Right.
I feel like once they take over a spot, they're just there. But what's great about them is they spawn so much that the local fish populations, especially the smallmouth, just gorge themselves on it all year long. And that's why you get all these smallmouth and largemouth that typically, on average, a 19-inch smallmouth is usually, on average, supposed to be about 3.5 to 4 pounds. You got guys pulling up 5-pound 19-inch smallmouth around here.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a lake 30 minutes from here by the name of Bombazine that's a problem in.
But that's what I mean is they're just gorging on all these bait fish that are just all over the place, and they're getting so big. And you look at a largemouth now, a 22-inch largemouth down south. You're lucky if that fish is breaking 6 pounds.
Yeah.
And the ones that you do see, like if you want to see an absolute slob, you got to catch them at least 23.5, 24 inches.
Yeah.
Anything below that. But anyway, so a 22-incher down south is going to run you just about 6 pounds. Up here, I'm catching 22s that are in the 7s.
Oh, to do a 23.5 up here might be state record, depending on where you catch it. Like,
Possibly. I mean, I did see they've been uploading fish all left and right from down south, and I just saw somebody. Oh, what the heck was it? A 20. I want to say it was right at 24, and it was like a 10.6 or something like
yeah,
that.
understand our state record official, Al, is 10 pounds.
Yeah, 10.4.
And
10.4.
I think
There's no length on it.
Yeah. There's no length, and it wasn't weighed by an official scale.
Correct.
So, now, that being said, I think, and what's crazy is I'm pretty sure the smallmouth is only like 6.5 or something like that.
It's like 6 1/4, something like that.
And that was what shocked me.
And it also does not have a length on there.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't, and guess what, guys? That wasn't caught on Champlain.
Yeah, no. Nope. And also, Zach, with the smallmouth, the absolute donkey smallmouth that he pulls up every year. I mean, this guy goes out there and pulls up 106 inches in a day of smallmouth. And you look at these smallmouth, no joke. So these fish are like 21, anywhere, they range from like 21 to 21 and a half, 21 and 3/4 inches. These fish look like they're almost 7 pounds.
So, Al, you can appreciate this from doing your Slay Nation tournaments. These fish are spilling over a catch board where you can't see the numbers on either side.
Oh man,
they're flowing over the catch carbonate board.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and you know how wide that freaking board is, and they're like,
yeah,
you can't even tell there's a board under this smallmouth. It's insane.
Yeah. And that's, I don't have that problem down here in Virginia.
You guys don't. You guys have what, spots probably, right? You probably don't actually have smallies.
We just got mostly largemouth.
Is it mostly largemouth?
Very few spots around here where you can get a smallmouth.
Yeah,
I mean they're here. You get them on the Rappahannock River.
They're mostly river smallies, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are a different species. As far as I'm concerned, a river smallmouth is not the same as a lake smallmouth. They got they're like the bodybuilders of the fish species. Like those dudes are just.
I mean, they're fighting burn all the time.
Yeah. You'll catch a 19-inch smallmouth in the river, but it feels like you caught a 30-inch smallmouth because that thing's pulling you in the kayak upstream.
Oh yeah, you can catch 20-inch smallie in Oneida, and it feels like you got a guppy on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Different lakes, same fish in different lakes can just fight differently.
Well, here, the thing, and I know Jesse can attest to this because we fish a lot of the same lakes. It's funny because we'll send pictures to each other of lakes that we've been. He's like, "Oh, I was there yesterday," but literally, like smallmouth here, their first move is up.
Oh yeah.
Now, other places that I've caught smallmouth in other states, they'll dog, they'll fight, they'll pull. But here, you better, once you hook a smallmouth, be ready to throw your rod tip straight in the water because that fish is rocketing to the surface. You almost need a 9-speed reel to keep up with them sometimes because you are.
And the funny thing is, even in 30 or 40 degree water, they're still breaching.
Still launching.
It blows my mind. Like these fish can barely even swim, and they're just coming out and flying. But what was it last year on Pensioner, because that's one of my favorite places to fish. I hooked. I want to say it was probably mid-May. Yeah, mid-May. I hooked into a 17-incher, which not particularly a big smallmouth, but this girl took off and breached and probably got a solid 6 to 7 foot of air. And then after she hit the water, proceeded to jump out and tail walk another 15 feet before she decided, got tired out enough to go down. Yeah. And this is the wildest fight that I've ever had. And I used to love fishing largemouth more than smallmouth just because of the size.
Yep.
until I actually hooked into and dogged with one of these smallies that was just like, no, we're gonna have some fun first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
now I'm
it's nuts. It's crazy too because it's not once. And it's not like one thing you hear a lot. I hear a lot from like Bass Elite pros and stuff like that is they'll like talk about how like the smallmouth, like the big ones won't jump. That's not the case around here. You'll get a 22 or
hooked.
21-inch smallmouth that will straight free willy after hooking into a crankbait, and you're terrified the whole time. Like I caught one in that tournament, that Elmore tournament that I did. That freaking smallmouth, that was a 20-inch smallmouth, and that thing jumped 5 times before I got it to the boat. And it was
I
on a
like it
freaking.
when
I
they
had
do
him
that.
with one of the trebles. I got
Oh,
so lucky I got that thing in the boat. It was nuts.
Hey, I tell you what, if a fish jumps like that and walks on top of the water for me for a few feet, you could jump off. I don't care. I'm happy.
I.
I
It's
made my
it's
day.
fun.
that's what it comes
It's
down
fun.
to.
It's
That's what
it's
it comes
just
down to. You're like, wow, the entertainment factor of it
Yeah.
yeah.
alone.
I'll take it for the entertainment value. You know.
Smallmouth are crazy too because they're like. That's one of the reasons why I want to get into spinnerbait fishing because from what I understand, again, don't have experience to speak to it. Jesse probably can speak a little bit more to it, but like certain times of the year, they will just. It's what it is it's their aggression level.
Hmm.
If a largemouth's aggression level is like a 7, smallmouth is always on 9. Like they will hit. I swear to God, they're like almost like psychotic because sometimes I don't even think they're trying to eat it. Like sometimes you'll fish a bait and they will. I've had freaking smallmouth at a local reservoir hit a 2.5 square bill so hard it launched the square bill into the air.
Ooh.
Like it
Yeah,
literally sent the square bill out of the water. That takes a lot of force to make a bait that's designed to stay down. And literally it would like pop up out of the water and then the fish is behind it. And I'm like, why? But it's because they
yeah.
were just headshot and they're not even trying to eat it. They just want to kill whatever that was. It just pissed them off and they want to kill it.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, this is it.
So
I gotta find one.
I'm thinking a spinnerbait might be another trick that I can learn to use.
Right, and for a smallmouth, if you go with this is a if you look at a typical arm on a spinnerbait,
Yep.
you see how that arm is a little longer
A little
on a
longer, yep.
typical. We make a short arm.
Okay.
It puts the hook a little more close. I gotta bring it up. It's fine here. I can see it, but I forget. You guys got to see it.
Yeah.
It puts the hook a little closer to the head.
Here,
The
I'll do
hook and
that.
the head closer. And then you can always do something like that and get it right like that.
That makes sense.
You
So
know,
when they're going to try to hit that flash, they end up getting the hook instead of getting
yeah,
the wire.
they'll hit the blade
Okay.
and they'll come down on the hook.
That makes sense.
There's a great thing you'll learn when you're out there is bend that blade. Bend it. Get that blade back here so when it comes up, it's going to push the blade out of the way and get right on that hook.
That makes sense. That's a good idea.
And it's like I said, so many lures out there. There's just one way to throw it. Maybe
Oh
4 or
yeah, I
5
mean
ways.
there's a lot of baits like a
But a
crankbait. Really,
spinnerbait,
what are you gonna do with it? You're gonna retrieve it.
spinnerbait, you can throw it down. And like you, I think once I can get clearance from the doctors for the shoulder and everything else that's going on, I think I'm gonna go out. I'm not gonna get a kayak. I
No,
tried it, and I'm sorry, man. I tried a kayak, and I'm not
no,
getting one.
going John boat.
Hey, I'm gonna get. They make those little like Bass Pro Shops has it. Those little 10-foot pond prowlers.
We
You know,
the guy who took second in the tournament trail this year in Slay or last year. That's what they were using. Him and his buddy were fishing
yeah,
in one of those with trolling motor. For
yeah.
one person, that's plenty of boat. Like you have room to move around. You could stand up. He was
It's
fishing some pretty
long,
rough water with it.
wide,
Yep.
and it's stable. You can stand up, and
They're
I
not that
want to get out
expensive
there.
either.
No, they're like less than $1,000. They had a
Yep.
trolling motor in that. And for me, I have what you want. And you're gonna probably want this. I have I have my Insta 360.
Yeah, I need one of those.
Yeah, and I got all the options for it. I even got the microphone options.
Yeah.
So between that, the the GoPro 8 that I got already mounted with everything
Yeah.
ready to go. Yeah, I got a lot of cameras, so I can set them
Yeah.
up on a boat and get out there and really do some good fishing. You
You
know?
think you got a lot of cameras?
Oh yeah, I know, man.
Dude,
I remember going through this.
I found freaking two GoPro 9s in the under the seat of my truck the other day. I was looking for components to my accessory for my kayaks.
Hey,
And then
are
I
you
got the
tracking me right
GoPro.
now?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. My
Yeah,
stuff.
you disappeared, but you came back. You disappeared, and then it added you back in, but it left your old like non-person there. But yeah, no, cameras wise, dude, I have 3 DJIs, 4 Acasos, 2 or 3 GoPros. I actually gave 2 GoPros to Janelle while she was up here doing ice fishing. Like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm giving stuff away to people because I'm going full DJI. I'm done with the GoPro brand, but
Yeah.
it's just they're more reliable. Now I will say it did one weird thing when I was ice fishing. I still got to figure it out. So apparently it has a sensor in it for water pressure for if you were diving with it. I
Okay.
was ice fishing and it gave me an alert saying because the water pressure was so high, I needed to use the quick button instead of the top button to start recording. So I don't know if it was reading barometric pressure because it was storming and snowing that day.
Okay, Ben.
But I'm like, how the hell does this thing think I'm underwater and underwater deep enough that it needs to change its settings?
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm getting a little unsatisfied with my GoPros. They seem to have more and more issues. The batteries are burning out on them left and right.
Tell me about it.
Um,
And so the
have you
DJI,
seen as soon as you see the message, card corrupt, rebuilding, you're ready to throw that thing in the lake, and it does
yeah,
it 4 times in a day, and you're like, yeah, I'm done with this. I can't. The thing is, dude, I will tell you right now, this is something that it's gonna sound like an advertisement, but if I recommend something, it's probably durable because I am not gentle and I am not nice to anything I use.
yeah,
I
what's
am
the
abusive to
DJI
my equipment.
price?
So
What's
that's
a
the
good
thing.
DJI price?
That's the other thing. So like the camera itself is like $200, $300.
No.
And it's a 4K. You can do 4K 60, 4K 120, 2K 60, 2K 120. Like I highly recommend if you're going to get one, DJI Action 4 or higher. They sell it as a combo. Now it is like $400, but to be honest, you're going to pay that for the new GoPro, just the camera anyways. But the DJI Action 4 combo comes with the Mic 2. And the DJI Mic 2 is Bluetooth. And it's wirelessly Bluetooth to the camera. You don't need an adapter. You don't need a cable. You don't have to plug it into your C port. It literally, you push the power button, it vibrates, and it attaches to the camera. So you can be talking to your camera, turn on your mic, and it only glitches for a half second while it's connecting, and then it will connect to the mic, and then it will hot swap back to the live camera. So you can, like, in the wind, like you're out there talking, hey guys, I just caught this bass, and then you get that.
Yeah.
So
Listen to
then you're
my
like,
last
okay,
two videos.
I need a microphone. You turn on the mic, it will flash on the screen and say mic connected, how much battery you have, and then it's got a bar that tells you, like, it's telling you how much audio is coming through, so you know if you're over talking. and then you talk to it. And what's cool about it is the mic itself is recording too. So if the audio somehow doesn't make it to the camera, it's stored on the mic itself. You can plug the mic into your computer and pull the audio off of it.
All right.
And that mic also is Bluetooth, so it will go to your phone. Any other device that's Bluetooth enabled, it'll connect to that too.
Yeah,
so it's for me, it's a no-brainer.
Well, when we do our interviews, when I get to a trade show, like I got, I'll be in North Carolina, Greenville this weekend.
Yep.
I'll be at the Mid Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday, walking around, talking. I'll have the studio camera. I'll have the Panasonic 4K with every all the bells and whistles.
Yep.
Because I've got that down pat now.
Mm-hmm.
And the batteries, the film, I get about an hour and a half out of them. So I don't mind popping those out. But I need something that's more durable if and when I get my boat that I can take out on the water. It's going to be protected. I can hook up external batteries to it.
Yep.
You know?
Dude, DJI. So the other thing about DJI, and I don't know if it is. So I've seen videos of this. They don't overheat. Now, they will probably melt themselves before they'll overheat. But the only thing they'll do is they'll shut the screens off. So what'll happen is you'll be using the camera and you'll see the blinking light that you're recording, but none of the screens will turn on. But it's still recording and it doesn't glitch. So, and honestly, if you've seen any of the ice fishing footage this year, that was all DJI.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got them on the network.
They're
all on there.
That 4K of that DJI, like I had buddies. He actually messaged me. He goes, "Dude, what the fuck are you using?" And he's got a Sony DSLR, like the freaking $2,000, like high end with the special lens and all that crap. And he goes, "What are you using?" And I'm like, "I'm just using my DJI." And he goes, "That's your DJI?" Because the thing is, when I'm fishing, the one thing I will say is you need a big memory card because I'm running a 256 card. Literally using, I'm making almost a terabyte of footage every time I go out. Now, granted, I cut it all down and then I delete all the crap that's not used. But when I'm fishing on the water, like with my kayak, I'm using a smaller resolution. I'm using 2K because honestly, 4K on the water looks like shit. Because what it does is it reflects off the lake and it creates like this like ripply thing. It makes the water look pixelated because it can't focus on the water.
2K is fine.
Yeah. But
2K is fine. I mean, some people are so obsessed with, I got to have 6K now. They come, this Insta, this 360 Insta, that's I think 5.5K.
Yeah.
And
who makes
I like
your sensor?
No, GoPro.
DJI.
Oh, okay. But the Insta 360 is associated with GoPro.
Yeah, they use the same sensor as like the DJI. Those Insta 360s are awesome. Speaking of, so I want to get back to fishing real quick. Jesse, you have how many days left? I like rubbing this into them, guys.
It's like 27 till ice out.
Till you can go fishing. If you 27 days, dude.
Yeah. Well, again, it's all dependent on when the ice goes out. So I'm averaging it on April 15th. So that's where I'm aiming for to hopefully be back out on the water. So it might be plus or minus a couple of days, but
you should just come down here and fish with me.
Yeah, right.
Our first Slay Nation tournament is the 19th and 20th of April.
See, mine was originally going to be that same weekend. I bumped the first tournament to May, just for administration reasons. Jesse knows, but basically, the way the weather was going, our weather. Okay, you were from New York, so you know, but like New England in general, our weather is topsy-turvy this time of year anyways, but
Oh yeah.
this year, dude, it went from we didn't look like we were going to get a real winter to straight deep freeze, and then all of a sudden in a week and a half, all of a sudden all the lakes had 16 inches of ice. And we were like, holy crap. Like, I didn't believe guys when they're like, oh yeah, Lake Carmine's got 18 inches of ice. And I'm like, bullshit. And I went fishing on Lake Carmine, and I'm like,
Yep.
what the hell? I can't believe how much ice is here. But the thing is, the same thing happened this spring. I was ice fishing a week and a half ago, and I'm going open water fishing on Saturday.
Tell you what, you're gonna. Yeah. Well, that's what you think. You better do it Saturday because Sunday you'll be back to ice fishing.
Wow, yeah. I'm hoping that Champlain like it breaks up and heads to Canada, because
I've been seeing some pictures, especially up by like Mallet Bay and stuff, where some stuff is open, and I don't know how accurate that is.
No, it's true. So Converse Bay, they are launching trout boats and they're fishing. Yeah. That mid lake area. So what happens there is little lake ology here for you guys. From Champlain Bridge, from Crown Point north, there is a shit ton of tributaries. That there's a lot of tributaries to Champlain in general, but from north of the bridge, you've got Winooski River, you've got Lamoille River, you've got Otter Creek or Otter Creek if you're local, and all of those are rivers that go up into the mountains. So when the snow starts melting in the mountains and the snow starts running off from the lowlands, it all converges into these rivers, creeks, lakes, whatever you want to call them. That all dumps into a small corridor of Champlain. So all that ice doesn't stand a chance because it's getting pounded with water and it runs it dry. So like it's honestly, it's slightly poetic and it sounds really silly, but the first time I went out in my old town was in March. It was actually literally March of 2020 during the illness that shall not be named because I'll get demonetized. And I wanted to just take it out, to try it out. And I went to Converse Bay with it. So I'm debating on, just for nostalgia's sake, taking the new kayak up there and taking it out for the first time on Converse Bay, just to kind of symmetry the whole thing. But the problem is there's a couple of ponds I heard about, one up by Lake Carmi, and there's a couple of them down here, and supposedly Lake Dunmore is starting to thaw. And see, Lake Dunmore is a little bit of a tricky one because Lake Dunmore is one of the few lakes in Vermont that has closed trout waters, so you can't fish pretty much anything north of the island, is my understanding, at all. Like, you can't fish it. You'll get in trouble. You can't do the, I was pike fishing excuse like you can in a lot of other places. Like, it's a banned fishing from here forward waters. It's because of the trout and the landlocks. But the south end is loaded with milfoil and pike and all the things that I love to play with. And honestly would be a great place to run a spinnerbait. Let's bring it back around. But it's a place where I could go run. It's got rocky bottom at the beginning, but then once you get further back, it's got submergent milfoil, which I'm sure is mostly dead, but there's still some stuff in there. There's still some gunk and crap in there. It's got little bays and all this stuff. So it's got smallies and largemouth in there. So it's smallies, largemouth, and pike.
So that's good.
Unfortunately, what's going to happen is I'm probably going to lose all three of those spinnerbaits to a 40-inch pike that gets pissed off and bites me off. But
been there, done that.
See, where I am, I'm surrounded by rivers.
Yeah.
Where I'm sitting right now, if I go that way,
had to think about it.
About a mile, I'm on the Potomac River.
Yep.
If I go that way, about 11 miles, I'm on the Rappahannock River. So I'm between the Rappahannock and the Potomac River. And then if I go that way, I go to Lake Anna, and then I get down to the James River. Yeah, then I start getting into the lakes and the rivers, Chickahominy, the
Yeah.
James. So I like living where I am now. I'd actually like to go a little further south because within an hour of my house, all year round, there's bass tournaments.
Yeah.
Some kind of a bass tournament going on. A winter tournament. We have winter series runs right up through Christmas, and then they start right back up again in January. Once
Yeah.
we don't hold back. Nothing freezes down
Yeah,
here.
say you don't stop fishing. See, what's funny is I originally had this thought that I wanted to move south, but I honestly don't now. And it's because, that may change when I get older, but the off season in my mind keeps me, like, it almost makes fishing more exhilarating because that first, like, let me preface this with, I could catch fish 365 days a year and be a happy man. But that first fish, I'm sure Jesse can attest to this. I don't even care if it's an 8-incher, if
Yep.
it's a freaking yellow perch. That first open water hook set and bring that thing back to the boat. It just, like, it clears all this stuff out of your brain and you're just like pumped. Like, it's the best thing that just happened. Now, the first 5-pounder or first 18 plus incher you catch. The other thing that's funny is I always have like this problem with my eyes are way off on what I think this fish is, because I'll catch like a 15 incher and I'll think I got a 6-pound. Like, I'll weigh it like, oh my god, look at this fish, because you're just not used to seeing that quality of fish. And in this pre-spawn and spawn up here, especially, like, you get like weird sized fish.
I do that every single year with this 20-incher that I catch in pensioner. I freaking haul her out, and I'm like, oh my god, she's got to be 6 pounds by now. No, she's still a 4-pounder.
That's the other thing too, is that same fish a month from then might be 6 pounds. Like, that's the thing, is some of these lakes, like, when they don't hit that pre-spawn feed up stage yet, they're kind of rail thin, and some of them look weird. Or you catch like those pike, the freaking pike that look like somebody squished them in a vice. It's the only way I can describe them. Like, you catch them and it's like, looked like somebody squeezed both sides of it, because his head's this big, but his body is this big. Like, he was that big at one point, but he just shrunk down throughout the winter because he didn't get enough food.
Yep. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Smallmouth do that too.
Last year I got my PB smallmouth and it was 21 inches, and I'm like, this is the biggest damn smallmouth I've ever seen. And she was 4'8".
Yeah.
4'8". And that was in like the beginning of May.
Yep.
So it was like pre-spawn. So that she hadn't quite bloated up, but I was like, man, this fish should be a lot bigger than this.
Well, and that's actually part of my motivation for using the spinnerbaits is my home lake, which I want to do what you said, is I want to go bigger profile trailers, because one thing I have learned, and it's probably the same in the South, but it's a little bit different because your water temperatures it's relative, but like, the fish, they hit this point where in the spring, in my opinion, is the best time to use those bigger baits.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're more likely to smash a bigger bait, and it's all a math equation in their head. It's like, they're still lethargic and they're still not willing to run down 17 little shiners, so they're willing to eat this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because this gives them enough calories to get them through the rest of the day, whereas 17 shiners, they're going to burn more calories than they're going to get. So, like, you throw like a mag draft or a big profiled spinnerbait, that's when and it's also when you'll get that like 6-pounder. Yes, that's literally, you will never hear me scream throughout the year. If you go back and watch any of my videos, if you look at the early, like, I'll say like my first big fish or the beginning of the year, some title that you'll know that it's the beginning of the season, I sound like this guy right here. If you guys have watched his channel, it's, oh my god, guys, look at this. Oh, I can't believe this fish. Like, you can't complete a sentence because you're so excited. And, like, by August, you're like, yeah, it's another 18-incher. But at the beginning of the year, that 18-incher might as well be a state record.
Yep. I've actually gotten myself to the point where whenever I hook into a decent fish, I'm like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That way I don't
watch my tournament videos, dude. Bear fishing gives me so much shit during our tournament videos because he'd be like, "Is it?" Like you'll hear him sometimes in the background because I'm like, "Oh, that's a good one," and they'd be like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Nah," but you'll hear me too. You also hear me go, "Oh," and then like, "No," because you'll hook it and you get that like the only way to really tell, in my opinion, a real good one, a real giant, is when you hook it and it rebounds. So you set that hook, but the pull almost comes back.
Yep.
Like it's like you have to think about, did I hit a log or did I hit a fish? Because it's like it's not moving.
Like you crack it and you're like, oh man, I did get a log, didn't I? And then it just does the one.
You feel that head shake, and you're like,
that's a good one.
Yeah. But yeah, especially when you use like a moderate rod and you feel it hit the blank and you're like, what was that? Yeah. And honestly, like I'm sure, like I said, I've never caught a fish on a spinnerbait, and that's kind of my goal this year is to truly focus on doing that. But it's the same thing with like a chatterbait. It's, you know what it is, dude, is I have that goal with a lot of baits. So like I could tell you how many, I probably caught 5 fish on drop shot. I don't fish it much.
The thing always been a 50-50 deal for me.
Yep.
Ned rig, I just barely. So it's really weird because what it is, and it's tournament fishing. So I will say, like, tournament fishing for me, and this is something that's going to sound really stupid, but like if you don't do it, it's going to sound stupid. A good season of tournament fishing is breaking even.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not going to get rich doing a grassroots kayak trail, even some of the bigger trails. And honestly, even some of the like opens and stuff, those guys are really just hoping to win enough to be able to keep their sponsors happy. You know?
Trails. So each of their events, I was looking at it, the KBF events and even the Hobies, and Bassmaster for that matter.
Yeah.
You win and you're only making $6,000.
Yeah.
Like 6,500. Well, it's all based upon how many entries you have and how many people show up.
And that's the big boys. That's the in the kayak world. That's the elite series. Yeah.
Yep.
And it is, and it's sad. You know, I mean, why can't kayakers get better paydays?
You know what it is? I can tell you exactly what it is. It is because right now, still to this point, it is kayak is the low barrier to entry, blue collar sport still. So what it is you're not going to get guys that are willing to pay $1,000 entry because they only are fishing out of a $2,000 boat.
Yeah.
The guy that's willing to drop $100,000 on a skeeter, dropping $1,000 on an entry, that's where it comes in. But that being said, the economy, and I'm not going into politics before you guys jump down my throat, but the economy and the current economic situation in general with what's going on, prices are going up because I'm not going to go into it, but guess where all that shit's made? That's all going to go up, which means cost of everything is going to start increasing, which means you're going to start seeing a lot more people start moving down to the cheaper option. They're going to go to the kayak world. They're going to get into the more local trails. That's why I love Slay Nation, because again, I'm not going to make money. I run my trail. Me and Al are literally Slay Nation tournament directors. Like, he runs his trail. I have a trail here. The fact is, I don't run it because I think anybody's going to get rich, and that's really not my goal. My goal when I do a tournament is I want to compete against a guy like Jesse. I want to compete against a guy because everybody's a hero on their home lake. Plain and simple. Everybody is an all-star hero. If they do fishing regular enough, you're gonna hook on to big. You're gonna have a bigger than average score on your home lake. It's that simple because you know it. You fish it. You eventually get to the point where you just have a Rolodex of good fish. But if Jesse can come to my home lake and kick my ass, I'm humbled, and now I need to get better. So now I need to learn how to fish a jerkbait. I need to learn how to fish a spinnerbait. I need to learn what barometric pressure means. I need to learn all these weird nuanced crap that may or may not matter. You need to invest in new technology.
But not a lot of people can invest.
And some people can't. And that's why the biggest thing you can do, in my opinion, is become more well-rounded. Am I going to be an expert spinnerbait fisherman? Absolutely not. I can guarantee you I will not be as good as Al with a spinnerbait. But can I build confidence so that if the situation and the conditions call for a spinnerbait? Absolutely. And that's, I think, the biggest thing to learn in fishing is, and right now, and this is something I preach in a lot of my videos, right now is the best time to practice. Because guess what? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care if you're Mike Iaconelli or the guy who's never fished anything but a bobber and a worm in his whole life. Fishing sucks right now. It's going to suck right now. But if you go out, you have a bad day, but if you spend an hour tossing a spinnerbait and learning how it looks in the water, learning how fast or slow you like to retrieve it, learn how to flip it, pitch it, do all the weird stuff that you do. Do jerkbait. That's how I learned how to fish a jerkbait. It sucked. I was having a bad day, and I said, screw it. And I tied on a jerkbait, and I spent 2 hours just fishing it. No intention on catching a fish. Just figuring it out. If you do that right now, it's the best time. Because honestly, anybody who goes out between in the New England area and Al's area, you guys are probably getting close to pre-spawn, if not there at this point.
Yeah,
but
probably soon.
You guys are probably already there, but for us, it's like still winter pattern up here. Yeah. You know, we're talking 36 to 38 degree water. So if you get a fish to bite, it's because you pissed it off. It's not eating because it's hungry. It's because you smacked it in the face with a spinnerbait blade and you made it mad. But if you can take that time, and I'll tell you right now, the other thing that's funny about being in the Northeast, and Jesse could probably attest to this because he's got 27 more days until he can fish, is casting. For some reason, when you go 4 or 5 months without being able to cast a rod, there's some muscle memory that you have to rebuild on skipping, casting, pitching, flipping. Like, you kind of have to shake that rust off.
It's not just that. It's the basic stuff, too, like setting your drag properly. When you go to actually set the hook and you're like, oh, crap, that's too loose. And then man, you got to catch up to
I
them.
never set my drag right. Never. But, Jesse, just look at it this way. Tomorrow will only be 26 days.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I actually, you know what's funny is the other thing that baffles me is connection knots. Like, I can tie a connection knot in 40-mile-an-hour winds in a monsoon in August. In March, I'm like, wait, is it 4 wraps or 5 wraps? Like, I have that freaking moment where, like, you have to, like, remember all of that crap that you just, like, in the middle of the year, you're just, like, there's literally videos of me in August going, okay, guys, so what we're doing is we're fishing a spinnerbait, and I'm, like, tying the knot, not even paying attention. But in the beginning of the year, I'm like, how many wraps was, like, I'll get halfway through it, I'm like, how many did I do?
That's why what I'll do is, and my wife can definitely attest to this, is throughout the year, well, throughout the winter time anyways, I'm constantly watching videos, not just on fishing techniques and stuff like that. I'm searching out different knots, like the FG, how to tie it properly, how not to tie it. and learning new knots and going down and testing them out and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I watch was it Tactical Bassin, and he was talking about doing a what is it, a modified blood, so it's like a 9 loop blood knot, and doing it with like 80-pound braid to a 30-pound leader. And I'm like, okay, so I give it a shot, and I'm like, this thing fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm listening to it go through my guides and stuff, and I'm like, and the last time I tried doing that last year, 3 or 4 casts in, luckily I had a floating glide bait on, and it came right off. The knot just came undone, and I'm like, now I know I did the damn thing right, because he specifically says you can look at this blood knot and it is correct, and you can see that it's correct. Well, it was, and it still slipped because of how much it was smacking the guides as it was going through.
Dude, so I'm so old school on knots.
Yeah, I've been on the hunt for a better freaking knot. And what was it that I just found that I've been looking at? It's the Red Phillips knot, I think it is.
Okay.
So I'm taking a look at that one, and supposedly it's pretty small. Like it's almost in comparison to the FG, not quite, but it's smaller than like a 9 loop or an Alberto.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, I tie 2 freaking knots. I tie a Palomar for my connection to my bait, and I tie the freaking crazy Alberto for my line connection. Now, I will say the one thing I have done in the last few years was I don't do a lot of. I used to do everything freaking braid to leader, everything. Now I've gotten to the point where I've gotten it dialed in, where I have specific reels that I've learned cast. Reaction tackle fluorocarbon, very well. So I literally use, like, I'll back it so I don't waste my money, and I'll back it with like old braid, or what I'll actually a lot of times do is, this is the redneck in me, is like when I'm stripping a reel, so you get that reel that's like down to like a quarter left of your braid, I'll take a drill and an old spool, and I'll despool that reel, and then I'll use that braid to back my fluoro reels, so that I'm not wasting good braid on fluoro reels. And then I'll back it with the shitty stuff that was left over. That the funny part is that's probably the best line on your reel, because it's been underneath your freaking other line for the entire season and never seen the sun. But
well, see, that's where I'm cheap. Now, when I get to that point where half the spool's been used up too much, I'll take it, tie it to another spool, reel it all in, so when I'm done, the bottom half is now the top half.
I've done that. So I'll do that with high vis. So I really like high vis line on my, like,
everything.
See my spinning rods and stuff like that. I use high vis a lot because I just like seeing the ticks and the stuff like that on the subtle hits. So I don't care what brand you get. After time, the sun is undefeated. I heard that the other day, and I love that phrase.
It always wins.
I don't care if you're buying Seagar or you're buying Reaction Tackle or you're buying any braid in between. The high vis braid, the dye, it wears off. It just does. Yeah. So I will do what Al just said, is I'll swap it. What I'll actually do is I'll swap it between reels, but it's the same concept. I'll literally take one spinning reel and tie it onto the other spinning reel, and then work it back on, so then it's flipping the braid around, so that the stuff that's underneath that's never seen the daylight is still fine.
Yeah. And then, like you, I'll take the braid when I'm fully done with it, and maybe get a nice wrap or two on a reel, and then put my fluoro or something on over it.
That being said,
so it has something to sit on.
I also throw it out too.
Oh,
that all came off of all those back there that I had to replace. But
believe it or not, I don't have one fishing rod in this house. It's in my car.
I only have so I am officially outfitted with. I'm going to be finishing the final touches on the kayak build tomorrow, but I will be able to run 11 on my kayak.
Yeah, I got one in the truck.
And that's not going horizontal.
Constantly. And then I got the rest of the road. I got a little like storage where I keep all that stuff. There's no room here to keep everything I have.
Go go ahead. Go ahead and speak on that one, Jesse. You like that? Considering your boat technically should be able to hold a whole shitload of them the way your shit's set up, but
Oh my god!
Why would you
And
put 11 rods on a kayak?
so here's why.
And don't say because you can.
No, so and this is something that I get this question. I get two questions at the boat ramp, and one of them's hilarious, and the other one is why I answer this question the way I do. So I'm basically a junk fisherman. Essentially, that's my style. So I will have at any given time a swim jig, a lipless, a square bill, a jig, a chatterbait, now a spinnerbait, a Ned rig, a wacky rig. Like I'll have a whole arsenal. But what I do is I have one rod that's a frog, one rod that's a swim jig or jig type. I will literally have all of these baits. How did you do that? That's pretty impressive.
my computer's glitching right now, so
Apparently, it doesn't want your face to be visible anymore. Basically, I run all those rods because, as weird as it is, it's the same reason you would do it in a bass boat. It's for efficiency. So what it is that if I come up on a log, I want to be able to reach for a jig or a bait that I want to do it. If I come up to an area that calls for a top water, I don't want to have to retie because in a kayak you have limited space and sometimes the conditions suck. So you can't tie a knot as easily or whatever because you're throwing around more. So I want to be able to go, okay, frog, wacky rig. I want to be able to switch rods as quickly as possible. So I actually carry more. It's funny too because when I'm fun fishing, I carry more rods than when I'm tournament fishing.
Yeah.
And that's because, and sometimes as dumb as this sounds, and you'll appreciate this from your tournament world, is people who don't tournament fish don't understand this. Sometimes I'll have two spinning rods, both with wacky rigs with the same bait. Because if I break one off, I want to be able to just grab the next one and worry about retying it later. I'll throw on
A lot of
sometimes the
people
same
have
bait.
their best. A lot of people have their best doubled up.
Yeah, like anything that's my
normal.
favorite bait or common bait, I'll double up just because like it's more those kind of baits, like ones that I'm gonna have to retie a leader or I'm gonna have to retie a complicated knot or something like that. I'll have two of because then I'm not going to, if I break it off, I get it hung on a dock or something, I can just throw the reel in the rod holder and then worry about it later and keep fishing. And then if I have to retie it, I will. Otherwise, sometimes that rod's just dead to me for the rest of the day because I have a backup. That's why I run 11. So I literally have currently, it's not actually configured that way. I'm doing it tomorrow morning. I can run 6 on my crate. I have 4 horizontal. Jesse's back again. Hey, look, you're not a bass anymore. That's freaking funny.
here,
Are you breaking up on me now?
freezing up.
There we go. Yeah. So, and Jesse, you'll appreciate this. Is literally I'm adding. So I have the black pack, right? I got the 13 by 16.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing is I have the 4 that came with the black pack, the 4 rod holders. I'm adding 2 Scotty rocket launchers to the back of it, so I can tip them back, so that the reels won't hit each other. Because that's the one thing I will say. I hate, like, I am too scatterbrained when I'm fishing to leave things to chance. So I have to make sure there's enough gap between my rod holders, because if I can grab a rod and end up hooking another rod with my reel handle and throwing it, I'm going to do that. It's going to happen. I'm going to throw that rod in the lake. It's
I told you about that last time. I
Yeah.
lost a freaking $1,000 combo
Yeah.
from doing that.
So
I reached back to grab my net, and my net was sharing one of the rod holders because I hadn't set it up the way I really wanted it, but it was
Right.
in there. And I was hooked on a fish, reached back and grabbed the net, pull that thing out, and I'm guessing the handle was caught in the net. The next thing I know, it splashes down next to me. I'm like, I'm only in like 10 feet of water. And I'm like, okay, I could swim down to get that. So I'll just let it go. And I go ahead and reel my fish in. Go figure it wasn't worth keeping. So I'm like, okay. So I look back over, couldn't find it.
Yep.
It's still sitting in the bottom of Lake Maury right now.
Where? I'll go look for it. If I buy my underwater camera, we'll go looking for it. But
I can show you right whereabouts that I lost it, but I guarantee it went into the weeds. Like I'm
gotcha.
pretty sure when it went down, it went straight down into the
Yep.
weeds, and that's why I couldn't see it because I thought it was going to go down and lay on them.
No.
Nope, definitely
Dude,
not.
it happened to me with that one I lost in Hortonia. And then I found it 3 weeks later in the tournament. Literally, the rod tip was just sitting out of the water, just barely, and the wind had just moved it just enough where I could see the tip of the rod moving around, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then and I went looking for it the next day and the week after, couldn't find it, and then I found it. But I want to ask Scott Vermonter. You said you went out yesterday. You need to hook me up with some info, buddy. Let me know what pond you went out on. Because if you've got a full open pond down south, I'm coming to visit. Because, so here's the thing. Up here, Champlain, like we were saying earlier, is full open. But forecast, last I looked, was calling for 25, anywhere from 25 to 40 mile an hour gusts all weekend. And Al's from New York, so he probably understands this. They're saying north wind. North wind with Champlain is a freaking death sentence. Because Champlain is one of the only bodies of water in America that flows north. So you've got current flowing into wind on a lake. And it makes nasty conditions. I have been on the Great Lakes. I have fished 10 to 12 foot rollers in a 20-foot boat.
Nope.
You will never be more terrified than a 2-foot Champlain wave. I'm telling you right now.
With the north wind.
It is the most dangerous lake I swear I've ever fished. And I've fished Cayuga. I've fished some lakes that are pretty infamous for having shitty weather. And that lake, and it's just simply because you don't get one direction of wind. You get a swirling wind that comes down through the canyons, and it makes washing machine waves where you've got 2-footers going this way and 2-footers going that way and 2-footers coming this way, and you're just all day. If you fish in a regular boat, you literally feel like you got into a bar fight when you get off the water. It is awful. So in a 10-foot plastic boat, just not having it.
Yeah, that's the same like Oneida up in Syracuse.
Same deal, dude.
When that wind kicks up, it just comes.
It's awful.
It's like, you just stand up and go like this, and that wind catches it. Next thing you know, you're 3 miles down the road.
And the problem with Champlain too is like you said, it's not. You can literally be glass, nice, calm, relaxing day. And 20 minutes later, you're hanging out on an island waiting for Mother Nature to be done so you can go home.
That was the old saying when I lived up there. When we used to go to Syracuse in October for Super Dirt Week, the old saying was, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change. My wife and I, we went to Syracuse, New York State Fairgrounds.
Yep.
For Super Dirt Week, and which I think was 98, 99, way back then. Sitting in the grandstands on Sunday, watching I think it was called the Schaefer 300 back then, dirt modified.
Yep.
And the sun's shining, and the yellow flag came out. My wife looks at me and she goes, "What happened?" I'm looking around. I'm like, "I don't know." Everybody, and then you look over in turn 3, snowing.
Yep.
An inch of snow over in turn 3.
Yep.
The rest of the track was sunny. So yeah, it's when we used to fish up there, you brought rain gear, warm gear, cold gear.
Jesse can attest for that too, because he fishes like I do, where when I go fishing, I'm fishing. Like I'm there for the day. Like, and that's literally I'll have float bibs, rain gear, and shorts in my truck, and you don't know which one you're going to end up using that day, but you know you're going to need all of them.
I'll tell you what.
You don't trust the newscasters.
No.
Last year on Pensioner, no joke, every single day that I went there except for one day, every single day it was 20-mile-an-hour winds, and it was whipping. And the worst time to be on the water is right after the ice out, and of course it's also raining at the same time, and it was miserable. And the only thing that was keeping me from being pissed off was the amount of fish that I was catching.
So that's the thing about that's. So I'm fishing Saturday. I tell you right now, my kayak is hitting the water Saturday. What water it hit Saturday, I don't know yet. But it's hitting some water Saturday. But if I can avoid Champlain, because the problem is, your point is the biggest point. Will I fish 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts in May? Yeah. In June, July? Yeah. Matter of fact, those wave sprays feel amazing when it's 85 degrees out and that water's splashing you in the face. You're like, thank you. In March,
no,
you're going to die of hypothermia before you get to the frickin' shoreline because the water is 36 degrees. Everything in your kayak is frozen. You ain't lived until you're fishing in your boat and you can't pedal your pedal drive because it's fucking frozen because the ice sat on it for too long. That's how stupid I am when it comes to fishing. But there's certain lakes like Champlain. If you guys watch my content, you'll notice there's not a lot of Champlain content. And that is simply because I look at the forecast, which, again, Al said it best. I look at the forecast, and I just assume it's going to do the opposite of whatever the hell those fools say it's going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Because if they say it's going to be sunny and nice, it's going to be 100-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm not going anywhere near. So I don't play in Champlain as much as I should. And it's funny because people not from this state are always like, "Oh my God, Champlain! You should be fishing there every day because that's." And like to me, it's 20 minutes that way. It's just the lake, but.
Oh, now Mikey froze.
The freeze frame.
Oh. Man, I thought it was on my end.
No, I think EV Mux is having some issues. But yeah, I guess we could probably almost end it on that anyways. We're almost on 2 hours, and I know we're way past Al's bedtime.
Yeah. Hey, at least it's not Tuesday night.
Dude, you know what? Honestly, see, for me, and this is where I have to get my co-host to start checking me on this, is I don't work tomorrow, so my week's over. This is my Friday night. So I don't think about the fact that people got to go to work in the morning or people got responsibilities.
You're screwed because I'm freaking retired. So
no, dude, me and you. That's why one of the reasons why I picked you up as a co-host, because I knew you could come on and talk all night with me. So
I'm retired. I just went back to work part-time.
Right.
You know, I come and go as I please.
I love how he's like, I'm retired, but I run a TV network. I run a spinnerbait company. I have a part-time job. You're American. You're Southern American retired is what you are. It's not.
Yeah, I have a part-time job that is an engineer for 2 hotels.
Yeah. So
I was at one today, and I'll be at the other one tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got a bit of an early day myself tomorrow. I got to go down to Dartmouth to get a pulmonary exam.
Dartmouth? So, that sucks.
Yeah, that's a little
that's
bit of
gotta be haul for you, dude, because that's like a weird. You have to kind of like.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a Yui for sure. No, I got to be down there at like check-in for me is like 7:45.
Oh, all
right.
That's about an hour-ish from me, so.
That's the thing about Vermont is that there's the saying here is you can't get there from here.
Yeah.
It's one of those like, and you only understand it if you live here. This is the only state that it's like, okay, where I'm at, like when I go to Lake Maury, I gotta go 20 miles south. Lake Maury's north of me.
Yeah.
But I have to go 20 miles south to get to the road that goes north to Lake Maury.
That's how I feel about Bombazine. I gotta go like an hour and a half south before I can go west to go to the lake.
Yeah. You can't go straight there. You have to go around it. The other
Uh-huh.
thing is, I have no sense of direction because I live in a state where, and this is something that Jesse will laugh on. Basically, the way it works in Vermont is if you're on a road that's tar and you're lost, keep following it because you're going to end up on Route 7 or I-89.
Yep.
And yeah,
You
and Ted's on here.
it's going to take you a while, but you'll eventually end up on Route 7 or 89.
Hey, Ted
490
from Off the Hook is on here.
491.
I just saw him.
Oh, is he?
So I want to say hi to Ted.
See?
Yeah.
See? I told you. There's another American
thanks,
Angler
Ted.
Outdoors alumni right there, proving my theory right there. See?
Oh, that's funny.
This is the New Yorker, man. I'm in my Northeast mode.
Yeah, that's funny.
New York, we're just waking up right now to go out.
Jeez, you ain't kidding. Oh,
Oh, dude, you know why I'm not fishing tomorrow? Because I haven't finished my kayak rig yet. Because I didn't think ice out was going to happen this weekend.
you know why I'm not fishing tomorrow?
Yeah, come on down. On the way back,
Yeah, no.
bring the kayak to Dartmouth and then swing in on the way back through.
Yeah, right. How far? Where are you again?
Rutland area.
Yeah, right. That's 2.5 hours for me.
Hey, isn't the Mohegan Sun Expo this weekend over in Connecticut?
It might be. That might be
I
this
thought
weekend.
that's what I saw Frank putting up there from Slay Nation.
It might be.
Yeah.
See, that one's one that I don't go to because a lot of the vendors I work with don't go to it because what happens is everybody goes, "Oh, that's really cool. I'm going to go gamble."
Yeah.
Because it's in the casino. So, like, no one has any freaking money to spend at a trade show because they're going to go play the slots.
Well, I'm going down. Like I said, I'm going to go down to this one down here in North Carolina. It's a show that's building. It's their second year, and they get better. They should be better than last year. But it's coming to the end. Trade show season.
It's pretty much over
Got
up
a
here.
couple of scattered shows now. That's about it.
See, they do them up here super early because no one can fish, so then that's when they do them. The problem is this year, a lot of the shows underperformed because there was so much ice fishing. See, in the last few years, there was too cold to really do anything. No open water, but you only had 2 to maybe 3 inches of iffy ice. So anybody who doesn't have a death wish wasn't going fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a bunch of bored fishermen going, "Well, I might as well go to this trade show to see some stuff because I can't fish." This year, you had 16 to 18 inches of ice on. You could pick whatever lake you wanted to go to. So everybody was out fishing.
Yeah, and ice fishing is like a wave. It has its up and then it has its down for a few years. It fluctuates.
Dude, this year,
You know?
not even joking you, when I was out there with Janelle during that Beyond the Ice series, we were sitting there in the shanty and a guy drove by in a 1-ton diesel pulling like a 16-foot fifth wheel.
To go out.
They were ice fishing out of that. That's a lot of freaking weight. And, I mean, you could hear it, but it was fine. Like, it was, they plowed a roadway so that they could drive the cars out there.
That's asking for stupid shit to happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, that's how much ice we had this year. But the whole thing
you don't get that every year.
We won't get. I can tell you right now. I can guarantee you we're not gonna have as good of an ice year next year. Do you know why I know this? Because I bought an auger, and I bought a shanty, and I upgraded my tip ups. So because of that, I can almost guarantee you next year we're gonna have a shitty ice season because I bought all the equipment I need to be able to do it on my own.
Hey, maybe that just
it. Ice fishing. Everybody will sit back and say, "Oh, ice fishing, ice fishing. Oh, yeah, we got to try it. And then you'll get that surge that gets out there, and after the second or third day out, like, God damn, man, I'm going back to the house. It's too damn cold.
Dude, you know why I ice fish? I ice fish for the content. It's real. It's as a content creator, people love watching it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy catching fish. I have fun doing it, but I don't do it because I love it. I do it because it's go ice fishing or watch Netflix. And I ran out of shows. I literally ran out of shows this year. I got to the point where I was
read what
waiting.
Ted wrote.
You know what's funny about this, though? This is funny, is he says, I can't ice fish. I can't sit on an ice cube and fish through an 8-inch hole for a dormant fish. What's funny about that is coming from a hunter.
Yeah. Well,
like, don't get me wrong, I hunt too, but...
Or is he a stalker?
I think he's a little bit of both. He puts up a lot of hunting content, so, like, it's funny to me because that you hear that a lot, though. Oh, I don't... Ice fishing's boring, I can't do that. And I'm like, but you'll sit in a tree and stare at squirrels humping each other for 6.5 hours. Like, don't get me wrong, ice fishing is one of the most boring sports. Like, and the other thing that I make a lot of people mad on, there's no fucking strategy to ice fishing. It is shit luck. You can start.
Basically, it's drop shot.
It's sport. Basically what you're doing is the only strategy involved, and I will say this is one thing you can do, is go on like a C map, go on Omnia Pro, and find places with like 10 contour lines stacked together, and then set up there. But that's it. After that, where you drill that hole, it's really not. You drilling that hole there is not what's making that fish bite. That is a hungry fish happen to see your shiner. That's it.
Ice fishing is more for the person that wants to catch fish because they eat it and they want it. That's basically it.
Well, the other thing I've noticed too. The other thing I've noticed too is it's also the guys who, and this is gonna I'm not trying to disparage people, but what I've noticed is the people that are hardcore ice fishermen are the guys that don't have a boat and don't have a kayak, so it's their opportunity to go fish the deep water and get to the bigger fish that they can't get from the bank. That I do see a lot of. I see a lot of those guys like, that don't have all this stuff, that don't have the financial means to do it. That that's their sport because they can go out there and sit on a 5-gallon bucket.
Well, now this year, Slay Nation. Well, you got a kayak series?
We have the small vessel series. I'm actually running it. I took it over this year as the director. I'm also going to be doing, so that one's pretty much run the same as it always has. I'm changing a few rules. The season hasn't. We're starting it in May, and I don't have my schedule finalized yet because I got to get permits in place. State of Vermont's very stupid, and you have to file a permit. You have to send $50 per event in a check with a piece of paper that they then approve it, and then they put it on a website, and then I actually have to submit a document after every tournament that has all the records of every fish that was caught. It's unreal. So I'm doing Slay Nation. I gotta look because I don't know because directors get a membership. I don't know if I get the tier membership that would allow me to do your slot series or not. Because I know there's a special one for the online versus the.
No, the way the slot series works is with Slay Nation. If you're a Slay Nation member, you can fish it.
Okay.
But if you want to get Angler of the Year points, you have to be part of the slot series.
Okay. So I'm probably going to do a couple of year events at some point. My buddy Bobby runs a slot. He's actually running. I think his is April 19th. He runs one too, but his is not like your. His is more MLF style. So it's a slot series, but it's total inches, 12 to 7. So fish have to be between 12 and 17, but it's a total. So you could catch 20 fish, all 20 count.
Yeah,
it's not the cap of 5 like yours. Or is yours 5?
We have 4 up to from 12 to 18 inches.
Okay.
And then your 5th fish has to be 20 or greater.
Got it.
So you catch 6 fish that are, say, 17 to 18 inches, only 4 count.
Gotcha.
That fifth fish has to be 20.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I've been doing it for years now, and you know, I hooked up with Frank and Slay Nation, and I love it with them.
It seems to be
You
pretty
know, it's
popular from the Slay Nation side. I see a lot of people doing it.
yeah, and Slay Nation's great if you want a kayak any kind of fishing, and if you don't have anything where you are, just talk to Frank. He'll get you hooked up.
Yeah, it's. I've been trying to get someone to sign up for Slay Nation Vermont, but
It's coming. I got payday coming. Don't you worry.
um, but yeah,
It's
and
tough.
you know what's funny is it's. I shouldn't want Jesse to sign up because Jesse's going to be competition for me. But that's the thing is it's this is my
Yeah,
like
but it makes us both better because we're both like, all right, this guy's got some game, so let's see how this is going to go. I got to
and
be
it's
on
and,
top of it.
and it's not that the other guys in the trail. I know some of you guys watch. I'm not talking shit about them either. It's just for me. It's like I'm an alpha personality, so like I do competition different. Like when I'm fun fishing,
Mm-hmm.
I will hand you my rod and be like, cast this to that tree. There's probably a 5 pounder on there. Like I'm more than happy to get guys on their PB, get guys into fish when I'm fun fishing. I'm completely the opposite. In a tournament, you are dead to me for the next 8 hours. If you
I
if
think
you
most of us are like that.
if you fell out of your kayak, I would throw you my life jacket and then fish your kayak structure. Like that's just my mentality in a tournament. I have a murderous, and the thing is, like
That's
that's
fine.
one of the reasons why.
I'll throw myself out of the kayak, and then when you come to fish my spot, I'll dive down, I'll spook all the fish away, and then I'll go to the spot where they are and not tell
See,
you.
and that's so I have done shit in tournaments that I'm not necessarily proud of. One of the things I did in one of the first tournaments of Slay Nation is I literally tied on all baits that don't work to start the tournament because I knew guys were going to look at my rods while we were sitting there waiting to launch.
Yeah, a lot of guys do that. I know a lot of guys that would do
I
that.
cut off every one of them fucking baits as soon as they left and retie. I even went as advanced as to put snap swivels on so I could switch them quicker when I got back on the water.
I can show you guys when I used to fish ABA and that. You get on the boat, and it's like, all right, you're sitting there. "Okay, maybe I got to retie this. As soon as we get to that first spot, all those rods go in the locker, and he pulls out a complete different set
Oh
of
yeah,
rods.
oh yeah. No, so the first Slay Nation event that we did was on my home lake, and I didn't pick the schedule. I wasn't the director. Like it was just happened to be picked that lake, and that particular lake is a weird lake in the sense of the fish during the spawn, pre-spawn, early season, they are in 100-yard circle in a bay. They spawn there and they live there. It is not where you would. It's 3 feet of water, and it's not where you think they would be. We caught 94 inches because I purposely made it. I actually forgot my life jacket in my truck, and I let everybody go because we do a shotgun launch. So I literally went back to my truck and delayed so that no one saw, and then we literally went out past where we were gonna fish, and then doubled back once everybody left. Because the logical spots where you would fish based on paper, based on mapping, based on normal textbook bass fishing, is not where the fish are on this lake. So then I literally just went back and caught all the fish after. Like that's how competitive I am. I've literally got a day a week dedicated to the tournament lake that's coming up next. Like that's my goal is once a week I'm going to go hit that lake every Friday. That's going to be my tournament practice day, and I'm going to hit that lake every Friday until the event. And then the next lake that's on the schedule, I'm going to hit that lake every Friday until the event. Like that's how competitive I am, and it's simply because, and I'm also going to be without a teammate because he's not going to be able to do it this year. So, literally, it's on me, and and the thing is that's the other thing about it. At the end of the tournament, I'm going to congratulate everybody. I'm happy for them that they won. I'm excited for them. But during the event, I am the hardest person on myself. Like, I will literally be driving home and go, I should have thrown that fucking black and blue drag on that stump. Like, I'm that guy. I've done tournaments 4.5 hours, and the whole way home, I'm like, I should have changed to that freaking crankbait 2 hours before. Like, it's just my brain.
Your wife just dragged you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think we found the perfect shirt for Michael. I see it on Facebook a lot.
Yep.
I will put your body in my trunk and help them search for you.
Yep. That's me. That's me. No, so literally I met my wife through Beer Gut Softball. And when we played together on the same team, people didn't know we were married. Because she said, when you're on a ball field, the exact phrase she said to me is, when you're on the ball field, you're an arrogant prick. To the point where we wouldn't communicate because once I stepped across the line and got on that ball field, I'm in an entirely different headspace. I'm the same way when I compete. And it's not because I'm against the other guys in the trail. Literally Sunday, I'm going to be my other co-host, other than Jesse, is Chris Williams. He's one of the guys I compete against in Slay Nation. I'm planning on fishing with him on Sunday. I'm fishing with Bear. Like, I fish with all the guys in the trail. Almost every single one of the guys in the trail at some point I fished with fun fishing. It's just what it is it's if I go to a lake and I get beat by a drop shot, now I need to figure it out.
Yep.
If I get beat by a spinnerbait, if I get beat by a wacky rig, it doesn't matter what the technique is. I need to feel like I can at least throw it. I'm not going to be an expert at it, but I want to be able to go to a lake and go, okay, the situation calls for a wacky rig. I need to be able to throw it. The situation calls for a chatterbait, spinnerbait, blah, blah, blah. So I'll end it on that is I am too goddamn competitive for my own good, and I internalize it and take it personally. I'll get off the water and shake your hand and say congratulations and high five you and cheer you on and actually be happy for you. And then on the way home, I'm like, that fucking guy was using the crankbait. I should have used the crankbait. I knew it was going to be a crankbait.
You're going to hate me if I end up catching on chatterbaits and spinnerbaits.
Dude, you know what, dude? It's the funny part is I will and I won't, because the other thing about fishing, and actually this is probably the best point to add, is we all three could have a company manufacture us a rod that's identical, manufacture us fluorocarbon and a bait that's identical, and all three of us could cast to the same spot and only one of us catch a fish. At the end of the day, there's a whole other level of juju that goes with, I wiggle my rod a little bit differently, I reel my reel 1/10 of a second faster than you do. I have literally handed dudes my rod and said, cast to that lily pad, and they can't catch a fish. And I'll even say this, Nikki Hansen in the chat has outfished me on my own goddamn lakes with a whopper plopper in 20 feet of water in the middle of the lake, where there should be no topwater bite whatsoever, and I'm running a jig on bottom, I'm running a deep diving crankbait. Like, honestly, a lot of it is really your honed in technique, but that's what it is being able to fish it.
It's also a lot of luck too, because funny story, my wife has outfished me on one of my favorite places. It was back when we were dating. It was her first time up there, and I made the foolish bet. I was like, oh, if you catch 5-pounder.
Thanks, Scott.
If you catch 5-pounder, I'll marry you. No joke. 30 minutes later, with a little inline trout spinnerbait, just throwing it around the edge of the grass, and I'm like, that ain't gonna catch. Because, I was cocky and arrogant and thought I knew about everything. Dude, no joke. She hauled in a freaking 5.5-pounder that was like, whoa. I was like, okay, double or nothing. You catch another one, and I'll marry you this year. Yeah, guess what happened?
Yeah.
She literally cast 10 feet away.
There you go.
Right on the edge of the freaking grass, and hauled one in bigger than the first one she got.
Yep.
Needless to say, I was a bit of an ass. I kind of waited a couple more years, but the point is
So-
that she still got married to me. But that's the thing. It's the luck.
Yep.
It's
It is.
throwing
Oh,
stuff
it's totally luck.
yeah, and you're like, oh, that looks like it could work, or no, but I'm going to throw it anyways, and then lo and behold, it works.
Yep. Now I will say, here's what I heard about that whole story. This is how competitive I am. Inline spinner. And I was listening for the color. That's how my brain works.
Uh-huh.
Now I will say, guys, and I am going to really end it here this time, I promise. Talking about spinner baits in general, but I will say, and I'll end it with this. This spring, go to your local tackle store, even your local Walmart, and pick up like a size 4 or a size 5 inline spinner and throw it in this cold water. Because just like a spinner bait, just like the ones that Al makes, that blade in the early season, that's a bait that's overlooked heavily in the beginning of the year.
We used to pick up a MEPS.
MEPS Fire Tiger, baby. I'd throw that all spring.
Number 3 or number 4 MEPS.
Yep.
I mean, that's all we used in New York for the longest time.
If you want to be fancy, you get the dressed one with the little yellow feathers on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys, I want you to do that. That's your homework assignment for this podcast. I want you guys to go pick yourself up a MEPS Fire Tiger size 3 or 4, throw it on your spinning rod, and go fish that this spring. And I want you to Instagram me the photos you catch. As a matter of fact, I will even up the ante. If you catch a bass on that technique, I will put you in a drawing and we'll give away some reaction tackle baits.
No, you won't do it. No balls.
Oh, trust me. Me and Reaction Tackle have a pretty good relationship. So, but yeah, guys, we're gonna end it right here because we gotta let the gray goat go to bed before he turns more gray. And I will not be back next week, guys. So the 27th, we're not gonna have a podcast. I am actually recording with Bass and Brews. I'm going to be on with those guys, so I will send a link out for that podcast once it's released so you guys can listen to it. But we will be back the following week. I probably will drag Jesse on. We might have Janelle. We never know when we're going to have Janelle. And maybe we'll have Chris too, because maybe me and Chris will be able to tell stories about how we actually got the fish open water. Maybe we ran aground on ice. Who knows? We'll find out. But yeah, guys, I want to thank you for coming along with us and hanging out. Scott Vermonter, I need you to send me a whole bunch of lists of lakes down by you that are open, because if they are open, I'm on my way, buddy. I'm coming down Saturday. So I will see you guys.
I got information.
Yeah, we'll get you. We'll definitely, if we get that skirt, we'll get you.
Damn a bug. I got it. I'll look it up, see what we can do.
Absolutely. I have all of his info, so we'll definitely get him. So, all right, guys, we are out. I will see you in a couple weeks.